Top 5, a show where we call cut, action, hire that guy, hire that girl, bring in the extras. Where is my coffee? This is Top 5. Top 5 this week, top 5 actors perfect for comic book films. This is how the request came in. How about a top 5 actors perfect for comic book films? So I don't know if that means actors who have already played a comic book hero or actors who have not played a comic book character but would be perfect for it. So we're going to leave it up to each of our panelists this week to decide how they want to interpret that. Personally, I went with actors who would be perfect for a comic book film but have not been put in a comic book film yet, to my knowledge.
Yeah, that's what I went with.
Is that what you went with? What'd you do, Matthew? I went with deli sandwiches. Oh, Matthew, come on now, please.
Well, as always, I interpreted it as loosely as possible.
So deli sandwich meats is what we're getting.
No.
Oh, okay.
That's ridiculous.
Okay, all right.
Except, of course, for where it fits in the Venn diagram, that
exactly
movie actor, Ham Sandwichski.
John Hamm.
Yeah, John
Not
Hamm.
on my list.
Okay, well, we'll see if John Hamm is on someone else's list. Let's start with our number 5s. And this is going to shock a lot of people, I think, but I went with Clint Eastwood. He's getting up there in age, and I saw a fantastic picture. And we already know he can act, and we already know he can be a tough SOB. But I saw a picture of him recently where they lit it just right to where his face seemed super thin, and he looked more like a 120-year-old man instead of the 98-year-old man that he is now. But I think Clint Eastwood would be great for a comic book villain. And
Sure.
I honestly think he might be great for the Vulture.
Ooh, that would be interesting.
I know we're getting the Vulture in an upcoming movie, but Clint Eastwood, there's something about him as a villain in a comic book movie that I think might be perfect casting for him. So he comes in at my number 5. Matthew, what do you have for number 5?
My number 5, I didn't necessarily have any specifics for what I wanted to see him do, but I feel like this is an actor who definitely has just a kind of a superhero bearing and a superhero sort of, I don't know, just an aura about him where I'd just be like, yeah, I want to see this man in action. And that man is Taye Diggs. And you may say to me, he's 43 years old. And I said, well, Robert Downey Jr. is 553 years old, and he's still out there playing Iron Man. Again, I don't know who Taye should play, but he should play somebody.
Oh, sure.
Simply because, and maybe somebody musical, because he can sing too.
Oh, there you go. The Music
awesome.
Meister.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. But, if you're going to have somebody, you really want somebody who is compelling, somebody that you're not going to want to take your eyes off of when he's on screen. That's exactly what this is.
He was actually, weirdly, he was in a comic book movie. He was in Dylan Dog.
Oh, I don't think I've ever seen that.
And you shouldn't. It's terrible.
It's a terrible movie, but I have watched that.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Rodrigo, what do you have for number 5?
My number 5 is, I think for a lot of superheroes, you kind of need to start them at a place where they are kind of dweeby but lovable.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can transition them into maybe less so. So my number 5 is Kate Micucci. As you guys know, I'm a big fan.
Oh, yeah.
I think she would definitely... Yeah, she'd make a good Squirrel Girl. She'd make a good, secondary. Like she'd make a good person who jumps into a Black Hawk airplane because she wants to prove that she's as good as the guys.
Yeah,
kind of thing, right? So, yeah, I'd watch that movie.
I would too. Yeah, she's really good.
Yeah.
I like her. I like her a lot.
My number 5 is Kate Micucci.
My number 4, again, I don't know what character he would play. I don't have anything specific for him. I think it might be a good sidekick character, although he could probably put on some muscle pretty easily. Dev Patel, that we know from, what's that movie? Slumdog Millionaire. I think he would be a great comic book, for a comic book film, but no one has given him the chance yet. Something about him. I like him. I like his look. I like his attitude. I like his acting. I see him as clearly a sidekick character, but man, maybe give him a Jimmy Olsen in an upcoming Superman Man of Steel 2 movie.
Actually,
I'd buy that.
I remember talking about this guy before because I think somebody asked me a while ago, it was like, who would you cast in Spider-Man? And I was like, what I would do is, you guys remember that one comic that came out where it was like Spider-Man set in India?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It's like, I would just cast them. And I think literally the character's name is like Peter Patel. Because that's the only Indian name that Americans know.
That's funny. But I think he's a good actor. I think he's got a good look. So I'd cast him in a superhero movie, comic book movie. Could be a superhero movie, may not be. Maybe another Ghost World. Yeah. Matthew, who do you have for your number 4?
My number 4 almost appeared in a superhero type role because I accidentally sat back and not really watched, but experienced the last maybe 15 or 20 minutes of 7 Fast, 7 Furious this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And I kept being struck by Michelle Rodriguez.
Yeah.
And how incredible she is when she's on screen. She didn't necessarily have a lot to do in those last few minutes of the movie, although she does have a moment where she rushes up in her classic car and drives real fast, and she's all like, "Grr, I'm driving real fast, grr."
Was she fast and furious?
She was furious, mostly furious, a little bit fast. But what it really came down to for me was the fact that even with not a whole lot to do, because she spends this movie, I think, with amnesia, and suddenly near the end remembers, oh, wait, now I remember you, Triple X. I love you, Triple X. And Triple X is all like, okay, I'm not dead anymore because you have talked to me and now we love each other. It was really, really strong stuff. And it was something where I'd like to see her in a main role because she has a fight scene with Ronda Rousey that is either someone who looks exactly like her or her doing a lot of her own fight choreography and stunt work, which is just brilliant.
Yeah.
Really well done stuff. And I'd love to see her in a main role. It would be great to see her, I don't know, maybe as the White Tiger. There's a couple of White Tigers in play. That would be interesting. And that's something you could do within the street level Defenders stuff if you were feeling really bored.
All right. I could buy that. Yeah. Rodrigo, who do you have for number 4?
My number 4 is someone that I never paid a lot of attention to when she was first getting started, but I'm now like generally baffled by how talented this person is, and that's Ariana Grande. Obviously, she has a very successful music career, but the times that I've seen her act, I know she was in was it a Disney Channel show?
Yeah, she was in Victorious.
Yeah, so very early on, and I've seen some stuff from that, and she's really funny. But it's also kind of like this like teen comedy writing, and that stuff is just so bad, you know? So it's like definitely if you saw her on the first time she was on SNL, it's really impressive. She does a really great like Jennifer Lawrence impression, and she can not only can she do impressions of people talking, she can do singing impressions of people.
She's really good. If you've seen her on, what is it, Jimmy Fallon or
yeah,
I think that's the one. She does a great job.
Yeah, so, she's young, she looks good, she's very talented. If they ever, please, for the love of God, reboot the X-Men franchise, she could be a Dazzler.
Yeah, Dazzler.
That'd be good.
Wouldn't it? So yeah, I'd definitely love to see Ariana Grande in a comic book movie.
I was really worried you were going to say my number 3, which is fine. Actually, I was worried you were going to say my number 2, but my number 3... we've kind of seen her in an action movie that's kind of pop culture-y. We've seen her in Tron 2, but Olivia Wilde is just begging to get in on some. I don't know if she would be a Mockingbird character. I don't know if she would be a Black Canary character, but I could see her as a super strong female pow pow pow. Let's take them down, boys. Kind of character.
Right.
Because I like her. I like her.
Oh, she can be Ghost.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
From Ghost.
Yeah. Or she could be, she might be Dagger from Cloak and Dagger.
Yeah.
She could do that. Good. I could see that.
Throw in
then you
Tay
could get
Diggs
your Tay Diggs, or you could get your Idris Elba. Of course, he's already been in a Marvel movie. But you could do that. That'd work. Tay Diggs would be good.
Yeah, Idris Elba is
Heimdall.
Heimdall.
Oh, that's right. He's Heimdall. Yeah. I forgot about that.
My number 3, Olivia Wilde.
She's good.
Matthew, who do you have as your thingy? Your number 3.
My number 3, I don't necessarily know if she would be super awesome, but I totally want to see her because I accidentally and I can't remember which trip, but on the trip to
the sandwich trip
where you are,
kind of trip.
On the trip to go where you are so that we could all go to Nerdtacular, I accidentally watched Now You See Me.
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
And there are a lot of really great people in, but the one who struck me as somebody that I didn't know anything about that I wanted to know more about was the woman playing the Interpol agent, whose name is Mélanie Laurent, which is very French. But she is, I believe, actually a French person with a French accent who speaks French, which is pretty awesome. That's something you don't have a lot of. And I would love to see her in that action type role. I would love to see her as a main character rather than, a secondary character to the Hulk and all of the other characters.
Mm-hmm.
Because she really has something about her. There's a scene in there where the Hulk is, I'm the Hulk and I'm in charge and I have big puffy hair. What's his name? Gary Lucas? I don't know.
Are you talking Mark Rubio?
Mark Ruffalo. No, not Marco Rubio. Mark Ruffalo.
Marco Rubio.
Oh, man.
Mark Ruffalo runs out, and Mark Ruffalo is like,
different ideologies
drive the car. And she looks him straight in the eye, and she stares him down and says, never tell me to wait in the car again.
Yeah.
And he's like, fine, just drive. And it's a beautiful moment where she stares down the Incredible Hulk and wins that argument. And she just has... I don't know. There's a thing that I really love in a character where they seem unperturbed and gentle.
Yeah.
And then suddenly they just like flash into action and crush everything in sight. It would be interesting to see her as a physically powerful character, not necessarily like a Captain Marvel, but somebody who punches. I might want to see her as like a She-Hulk. Or a red She-Hulk. Because, you have the option of the red or the green.
Well, she could just play Betty, right? I mean, or does she have to play somebody that punches?
Yes. You just have to think, would she look better with just her hair flowing out or with a little tiara,
and
right?
with a mustache, right? Hulk. If you didn't totally hate Now You See Me, Matthew, Now You See Me Too, which total horrible title for that movie.
Should have been titled Now You Don't.
Now You Don't, right?
Yep.
Horrible title for the movie. Movie isn't horrible, actually mildly amusing.
This is the problem I have with that movie, and this is way off topic. They brought back everybody from that movie except for the female lead.
Right.
They didn't bring back Blondie, and they didn't bring back Isla Fisher.
Yeah.
And it made it feel to me like, well, we wanted to bring back everybody who's successfully part of the movie, but we don't care.
I don't know why. I don't know why she didn't come back. They wrote her off in the story in the book, but they brought in another actress who's good. But it's not a horrible movie, and is maybe even better than the first movie.
Yeah.
So there you go. So just an aside between you and me and our fantastic listeners. That you might want to go Now You Don't, and check it out. Rodrigo, who is your number 3?
My number 3 is someone who is a great comedian, someone who has a lot of acting chops, and someone who I think would make a great Mr. Fantastic if they ever rebooted the Fantastic Four, which I'm assuming is going to happen. And if they do, they should totally go for Richard Awade as Mr. Fantastic. He's got the nerdiness down. He's got the sort of like the physical appearance down because you want, Mr. Fantastic to be a kind of a slim guy.
Right.
He's British, but let's face it, most superheroes are British nowadays.
Yeah.
So it's probably not a big deal. They can coach him to have an American accent or, whatever. Just have a British Mr. Fantastic. People love Richard Awade. He wouldn't even have to act that much.
Right.
He's just like naturally very charismatic. So, my number 3, as Mr. Fantastic or pretty much anything else you want to put him on, and Richard Awade.
Would you say that he would have to stretch his acting skills for the part? Couldn't pass it up because we are now up to our number 2, which I surprised. I thought this would definitely be on Rodrigo's list, but she does appear on mine. Mila Kunis.
Mila Kunis.
Again, don't know a part she would play, but I could, if they're really looking to make Superman younger, she could definitely pull off a Lois Lane. She could definitely pull off
Superman.
She could definitely pull off Alana Lang. She could definitely pull off what's her name? Mermaid Girl.
Lori Lamaris.
Yeah.
Hey, they can still do it. They
still could.
It's like shared universe now, right? So it's like
we do have Aquaman movie coming up.
Movie. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so Mila Kunis, I think she's great. I totally kind of dismissed her because of the 70s show, but then when she was in the what's the breakup movie? No, the breakup movie one.
Friends with Benefits?
No. With the music, the puppet musical at the end. Forgetting Sarah Marshall. Holy crap. I was like, and I was like, this was before Black Swan. And I was like, holy crap, she's great in this. And I've kind of liked her as an actress ever since. So Mila Kunis is my number 2 perfect actor for a comic book movie. Matthew, what is your number 2?
My number 2 has actually been in a comic book movie, but
then it can't be on this list.
Sure, it can.
Hey, you said loose rules.
For 2 reasons. 1, it was a terrible movie, and 2, she was a bit part as the Thing's girlfriend.
Oh yeah,
and those Fantastic Four movies were crap. My number 2, I want to see her in something, anything, everything. Kerry Washington. I love this actress, and I love the intensity she brings. I don't actually watch, what is her show? Scandal? But it's on the same night as a show that I do watch, so I see all the promos for it, and she's always like, her eyes flashing this fire, and she's like, I will destroy you all. Oh, no, I love the president, but he is evil. Ah! And it's really, really the kind of thing that almost, but not quite, makes you watch the show. And so the fact that I have no interest in a show, but I do kind of want to watch it just to see Kerry Washington like yelling at people and being awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that would be something that would be perfect in a comic book type movie, regardless of who she plays. You could put her in a role like a Nick Fury role where she's the central person in charge.
Oh, yeah.
And she has to go out and take the field again and teach her agents how to be awesome. And I don't know. I'm bad at this.
No,
but
I can go with that. I think
you could do like Checkmate in the DC universe, and she could be like Sacha Bordeaux. And Sacha Bordeaux goes out and leads her Checkmate agents, and they go around and they do their checkmatey things, and it's totally not S.H.I.E.L.D.
She can play. Wait, do we already have a Monica Rambeau?
I don't think so. I haven't heard of one. If we do,
yeah, I don't see why not.
If we're going to do Next Wave, she could be Monica Rambeau. Yeah,
we definitely need a Next Wave. What's the magic girl from Runaway?
The magic girl is Miko. Sister Grimm.
Yeah. Somebody said she was made some kind of weird back appearance in Doctor Strange. I never saw it.
Oh, really?
I never saw it, but somebody had said that it was in there, but I don't think so. Because if it was so under the radar. Like maybe she was a background character or something.
She has a different name in it.
Okay.
I don't believe she's called Nico. I think somebody said she was called Tina. But the thing is, she has her staff for whatever she's in. I haven't seen the movie.
Okay.
But I've seen people going, "Oh my God, she has the staff." Oh my God.
I didn't see it, but I mean, there's a character that needs to be. Maybe that's somebody's number 1 or something. But
apparently, Brother Voodoo is also in it very briefly.
That's cool.
Interesting. Rodrigo, did we do your number? Was that your number 2, Rodrigo?
No, we haven't done my number 2 yet.
Let us do your number 2 then. That was Matthew's number 2.
Right. Yep. My number 2, if you watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine, this is, which you should. It's one of the funniest shows on TV right now. It's pretty fantastic. And one of my favorite characters is Rosa, played by Stephanie Beatriz. And you know, she's a great, like, tough cop, like comically tough. Like, she, you know, keeps her emotions very guarded, and they're constantly making jokes about how she's emotionless. But I think you could take Stephanie Beatriz's performance and tone it down a little bit, make it like for an actual like action movie or a suspense movie, and get something really good out of that performance. There's, you know, lots of characters that she could play. She could play a Mockingbird, for example. Although there's already a Mockingbird in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., right? Yeah. So
yeah, but that doesn't count.
It's a TV show.
Yeah.
Yeah, boo
so,
TV.
Boo.
TV.
I mean, there's all kinds of characters that could fit her, or that she could fit into, you know, acting. She can act it out.
Acting. Brilliance. Thank you.
Really, I just want to see more Stephanie Beatriz parts on everything. I think she does a great job in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and I'd love to see her in a drama. I think the last thing that I guess I saw her in was one of the Ice Age movies. Like, she voices like a T-Rex or something. Didn't even know.
Okay, there you go. We are now up to our number ones. And Matthew kind of gave mine away way early in the show. John Hamm. Here's a guy that has not jumped on the comic book superhero movie or comic book movie, and he totally could. I think he's got a great look. I mean, if you're looking for an Alan Scott, man, he'd be a great Alan Scott. He would be a great Jay Garrick. He's starting to get older. A long time ago, I had kind of written up like a Stephanie Brown spoilerite casting couch kind of thing. And I said John Hamm as her dad, the calendar man or calculator? I forget which one. Calculator.
The Clue Master is Stephanie Brown's father.
Oh, okay. But I was like, yeah, that he could totally do villain too. But John Hamm has not done comic book movie, and he totally needs to get in on this comic book monies that's just pouring out of Hollywood. So my number one, John Hamm. Matthew, what do you have for number one? I did
John
say something about
Hamm's
deli meats earlier, so there you go.
There you go. That's ham you eat in the restroom, the John Hamm. My number one is almost certainly a cheat, but since the movie that he's reputed to be a part of has not come out yet, I'm still going to do it. And you know why? Because I can. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. My number one is the most electrifying man in sports entertainment, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. If this Captain Marvel film comes around the way they claim it's going to, and if he plays Black Adam, and if the script gives him something awesome to do, it will be like the pinnacle, the penultimate moment, that perfect section of where an actor meets a role that predates his even birth, but is clearly written specifically for him. And if they don't, if that all falls apart, and that never happens, there are a dozen other people that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson could just step in and be.
Oh, sure.
You know, he did a Hercules movie that was not Marvel's Hercules. And that's part of the reason I think we'll never see Marvel's Hercules. But in a role like that, where you want somebody who comes in, rips off his shirt, and starts smashing everything in sight, it's perfect. And the man has charisma. He can play subtle. He can play quiet. He can play all sorts of weird things. If you've ever seen Pain and Gain, he can play totally camp over the top.
My God, that movie is funny.
It's a funny, terrible movie.
It is a funny, terrible movie, but it is.
It is a terrible, terrible movie.
It is a good Dwayne Johnson can pull off humor movie. Better so than the Tooth Fairy movie that he was in.
He can totally do that. And I definitely want to see him in a role where he can take advantage of that. And if it's not Black Adam, it should be somebody. Because this man is perfect. People keep saying they want to see him as Superman. I would not complain at seeing Dwayne Johnson as
Superman.
Yeah. No. I think he'd be fine. I think he of course, everybody's projecting him to either be Captain Marvel / Shazam or Black Adam. I'd take both of those. Yes, please. I'm disappointed he wasn't Aquaman, but you know, give me Dwayne Johnson in a really good superhero comic book movie, and you can have all my money.
I could see him as a Captain Atom too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that would be interesting. Yeah.
Or maybe just the Atom.
Paint him silver.
Oh, sure. Any of the Atoms. Like, Atom. Yeah, he can be Atom Smasher too.
Yeah.
He could totally not be Al Pratt. Al Pratt is 5'1" and Dwayne is 6'4".
That's true.
CG. They did it with and trick photography. They did it with The Hobbit. Yeah, they can do it with the.
He can be my uncle. He can do it.
Dwayne Johnson can do anything.
I would pay to see Dwayne Johnson as my uncle. I think that would rule. That's a movie I want to see.
All right, Matthew. Thank you for your number one. Rodrigo, it's all down to you, man.
All right, my number one is William Jackson Harper. You guys don't know who that is.
I don't,
seriously,
sorry.
He's not very well known. I first encountered him when I was working for PBS. He was in the reboot of The Electric Company as basically one of the villains.
Wow.
A character named Danny Rebus, whose powers were to like scramble things and turn them into rebus puzzles. I mean, it's a show about learning, so
right.
Like characters have to have powers like
Dwayne
that.
Johnson is Letterman.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
He is. If you've seen the previews for The Good Place, which is the new Kristen Bell sitcom where she dies and goes to heaven, he's in it. He's kind of the like exposition sidekick in that. I think he's very talented. He can dance, he can sing, he can do all this stuff, and I don't know. I think he's got good range because within the Electric Company, they've had him play lots of different parts. There's lots of things that I think he'd be able to do.
Did he play God in Bedazzled?
No, I don't think so.
You sure?
He would have been too young in Bedazzled. His filmography on IMDb starts around 2007.
Okay.
Interesting. All right.
He's wearing a hat in one of these pictures, and he resembles the actor who was in Bedazzled with Brandon.
Yeah, I don't think so, unless he was uncredited, and I'm not seeing here because it has been a long time since I saw Bedazzled.
Yeah, it's been like 15 years.
Yeah,
maybe more than that.
Yeah, if you were expecting a super huge name, sorry about that, but again, I think this guy's going places.
Cool, awesome. Well, there you go.
I said The Rock, so there's your super huge name.
Yeah, there you go.
Wait, I said Mila Kunis.
Yeah,
she tops them all.
That's a short name. That's only like 9 letters.
Oh, come on, man. All right, everybody, there you go.
Dwayne The Rock Johnson is 15.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Our top 5 actors who would be perfect in a comic book film or perfect comic book actor films, whatever. We interpreted it in our way, and we'll continue to do it our way here on Top 5. But here's the most interesting part of this entire show. The part where we tell you to head over to majorspoilers.com and use the comment section and share your top 5 actors who would be perfect in a comic book film. We'd love to read your list. Everybody loves a list, of course. And if you love this show, just remember, we are not funded by a giant corporation. We don't have a comic book publisher in our back pocket giving us money left and right. We're not owned by a movie studio. We do this on our own, and we could use your support. Don't let this show go away. Head over to patreon.com/majorspoilers right now and sign up. Every little bit helps. We'd love to have you part of our Patreon or VIP family. That's patreon.com/majorspoilers. Thank you so much for your support. And until next time, remember, everybody loves a list, and we can't wait to read yours. See you, everyone. Bye.
This podcast is copyright 2016 by Major Spoilers Entertainment, LLC.